Hello everybody, happy Friday. Melanie here with Mel's Inky Fingers. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to do some fun masking techniques today. So before we get started, I'm going to give everyone just a couple of minutes to find me. I had tech issues. The phone I usually use for some reason will not connect to our Wi-Fi and internet, and I don't know if it's because we are having storms here. And then once you have to switch up your setup, it's kind of a little bit of a mess. And everything else was dead. My computer's dead, my phone's dead. So we are here. So let me make sure that I'm in the right spot and that everyone can see me. Okay, there we are. Whew, for a minute I thought I was live in the wrong spot. That's always the worst feeling. All right, and let's see here. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes, it looks like it. Yay! All right, we're good. Yay! Hello everyone. Happy Friday and thanks for joining me. I'm glad you're here. This is always such a highlight of my week. So today we are going to be creating with this stamp set, which I love. I love the big, bold sentiments, and it's always nice to have a set like this in your stash so that you can add it. And what I love using stamp sets like this for is to create really neat backgrounds and just kind of let that be the focus and then have a bold sentiment on there for you. And that's what we're going to do today. Now to create our backgrounds, we are going to use the Artistic Mix decorative masks. Those can be found in our annual catalog, and I will show you where. And they're a lot of fun to use with blending brushes or daubers or watercoloring. There are a lot of different techniques that you can bring in and use when you're using masks. And they're a little tricky to see in the catalog, so I will show you where to find them. Now, maybe I'll give everyone just like another minute to find us. And while we're waiting, I just want to remind you that the month is coming to an end, and that means that bonus days is going to be over soon. You don't want to miss out on getting free money to spend next month, do you? I've taken full advantage of this promotion, so let me tell you about it. So bonus days is running for the month of July until July 31st. That's the last day to place orders with Stampin' Up. And when you order during bonus days, for each $50 in products that you purchase, you get a $5 coupon, and you can redeem that coupon next month on any purchase. That's always fun to be able to put that coupon on your order and realize how much free stuff you're getting. There are no limit to how many coupons you can use, and you can put them all on one order. So I just keep those little coupon codes that they will send me by email once you submit your order. They'll send you an email with your coupon codes. I take all those coupon codes and I just dump them on my order, and it's so fun to see how much free stuff I'm getting. So this ends July 31st, and yes, you can double dip. This is a Stampin' Up! Promotion, and you can double dip with my promotion, which is free card kits from last week. If you joined me last week, you saw that we worked with this super cute Sweet Citrus bundle, and I showed you fun ways to use the dies and the embossing folder with your stamps, and this is what we made. Let me show you again. So we made this beautiful floral card, this cute lime card, and a little lemon card. But you could also make these in orange or pink for grapefruit. So any citrus fruit, you could really make this work. Now, if you would like to create these cards along with me using last week's video, all you have to do is shop in my online store. So let me tell you about that. So when you shop in my online store and use this host code, I will know you want the Sweet Citrus Class Kit. I will provide a kit where you get to make 2 each of these 3 projects, and they are using the Sweet Citrus bundle, but if you want to use something else and substitute, you can. But you will get a class kit to make 6 of these projects, and it will include all the supplies you need for this, except your ink, your adhesive, and your stamps and dies. All right. So embossing will be done if it's not done with this bundle, and die cutting will be included if it's not die cut with the Sweet Sisters dies. Now, if you shop and spend at least $35, you'll get this class kit. And if you bump your order up to $50, I will also include a full pack of the iridescent pearls, which was the featured embellishment on these projects. You see how we sprinkled those pearls everywhere? Now, if you don't hit that $50 threshold to get your pearls, it's okay. You can substitute any embellishment you have on hand, but you will get your bows and your paper supplies included. All right? And then you will also get a PDF where you can use that to put your projects together. So if you have any questions, let me know, but make sure you use this host code so that I know you want the Sweet Citrus Class Kit. Okay? All right, well, let's get started. So today we are going to create with the Cute Kindest Expressions stamp set from the annual catalog. And I'm going to show you some ways to use your artistic mix decorative masks. Now the masks are easy to miss. This is the annual catalog and we're on page 136. The masks are shown here. Now there's actually 2 sets of masks. There's another one up here. But we're going to use this artistic mix set that's right here. You can purchase these for $10 and you get 5 different masks in there. So let me show them to you. So this mask set has coordinating masks, and I'm going to use both sets of coordinating masks today. And you get these two, which are kind of a bonus. So there are plaids that you can overlap like this to create, or you can do blocks and then add your plaids on top. And you can see that they're designed to layer together if you want them to, or you can use them separate, which is really fun. Then there are these really pretty like quadrifoil style masks. See, this one is very pretty. And then this one has just a cute little petite design on it. But look what happens when you layer them. It's like magic. They are perfectly coordinated. So they are designed to use together or separately, making them even more versatile. And then you have this shape mask. So you can ink a shape, or you could mask a shape where you put the shape down on your paper and ink all around it to create an open space there. So lots of different ways to use these. Now we are going to use these 4 masks on our 2 projects today. Now the projects I'm making today are not free card kits, but you can certainly shop with me and choose supplies that I use. And again, once your order hits that $35 threshold, you'll get your card kit from last week. And if it goes above $50, I'll give you the embellishments. So if you're here with me, say hello so I know you're here. It's fun to know who I'm chatting with. So let's get started with our first project. So our first project is this cute bright yellow. I love Lemon Lolly. It's one of our new core colors that came out with our annual catalog. And I thought it went really nice with this sentiment that said sending sunshine and rainbows because it's bright and cheery. Now I've added a few little things to dress it up a little bit, but my goal today is I just wanted to keep the cards relatively simple and show you how you could use your masks to create some really pretty backgrounds. So to create this card, I'm going to use some Lemon Lolly cardstock. Oh, and I forgot to score this one, so I'll do that. Some Lemon Lolly cardstock, and this is a standard card base, so it's cut 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm just going to score it here at 4 1/4 inches because that's the halfway point. So let me do that. There we go. And then I have a layer that is cut 3 3/4 inches by 5, and this is also from Lemon Lolly, so it's coordinating. Now you could mix it up. You could make this white if you wanted and brighten it up a little bit. That would also be very cute. I chose to keep it more monochromatic. Then I cut some little flowers, and to do the flowers, I am going to use these dies, the Sentimental Park dies. They have all these really great little flowers that would work perfectly. So that's what I have chosen for this project. And I might even mix it up and use some different ones, and then you can decide which ones you like better. And then, of course, some white twine from our Baker's Twine Essentials pack. It comes with white, black, crumb cake, Sahara sand, I think, and I forgot what other color is in there, but there's 5. And, of course, our 2 plaid masks. And then for ink, again, I'm staying with the monochromatics. I'm going to use Lemon Lolly and Daffodil Delight ink. And then I have pulled in a Flirty Flamingo Stampin' Blend marker because I'm going to splatter some pink just to kind of pull it together a little bit. And then, of course, a nice bold black for our sentiment. So let's get started. So let's start by working with masks. Now, masks are very easy to use, and you can do lots of fun techniques with them. I'm going to keep it very simple and straightforward today. So I'm going to make this a top fold card. So when I center my masks, I just want to make sure that I keep that in mind, because see how it doesn't fill this space here? You can make it uneven if you wanted. There's no right or wrong. But I'm going to center mine. I'm going to put it right here in the middle so that I get some blocks through the center of this. And for this particular project, I'm going to concentrate my ink kind of in the center and let it be a little more faded around the edges, just to create that center focal point. Now you could shift that focal point off to the side if you wanted, or you could make it more up here coming across, and that would actually kind of look like sun. That would be neat. And then I'm going to use a blending brush for my color. Now, these blending brushes come in 2 different sizes, and each size comes in a pack of 3. I do not have an ink color for every, I do not have a blending brush for every ink color, but I kind of group the color families, and then I just kind of do this, kind of clean it off when I'm done so that the colors don't kind of get muddy and blended together as I'm working. So let's start by taking some Lemon Lolly. And you can do this a couple of different ways. So sometimes when I'm working with my blending brush, I'll actually do this. I will use my blocks as like a paint palette. And when you do this, it allows you to avoid that splotch of ink that's usually in the center of your blending brush when you dip it in your ink pad, but you can dip it in your ink pad as well. It will give you some more concentrated color by dipping it on your ink pad. So I'm just going to kind of pick up some of this color and put it on my mask. And what I'm doing here is I'm creating some blocks of color, and then I'm going to line up this other coordinating plaid mask and create a really fun pattern. Now, when you lift this, keep in mind you will have some ink on this, so you don't want to get it on your fingertips and then transfer it onto your project. So just be a little careful regarding that. All right, so now I'm going to bring in my Daffodil Delight ink, and this is going to give us just a little more intense color, but it's going to stay with that yellow kind of monochromatic look. I'm just going to clean off the top of my stamp block and then pick up some Daffodil Delight ink. And I'm using a scrap paper underneath here to catch some of the excess ink. So now you can decide what you want to do with this. You can do kind of a crisscross pattern in the bigger block, or you can kind of offset it a little bit so you have these stripes of lighter color. And I think that's what I'm going to do on this one, which will be a little bit different than the first one that I did. And I am going to kind of concentrate my color a little bit. Kind of like it's coming from over here. And then just kind of give it a wash. And now let's see what we get. You can hold it and kind of peek and make sure it looks like you want it to look. Ooh, that's looking really fun. I really like the offset plaid. I'm going to add more color because it looks so cool. Oh, yes, I like that. Look how cool. Isn't that fun? So the paper kind of builds in one color, and then I've added a second color with the Lemon Lolly ink, essentially, because this will make the paper look a little darker yet. And then the most intense color is going to come where I added the Daffodil Delight ink. But doesn't that give a really cool look? What do you think of that? Isn't that fun? And then now, to get rid of my excess ink, I'll just kind of give this a little rub like this on my scrap paper before I put it away. And then it's kind of ready to go for next time. All right, so I'm going to put my 2 yellow inks away. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment in the center of my card front layer. But first, let me get rid of all this yellow ink. Otherwise, I'll have yellow all over my hands, because I'm going to ink up this stamp with some Memento Black. And it's a bigger sentiment, so I'm actually going to put the pad to stamp to make sure that it gets inked really, really good, because I want this to be really juicy and give me a nice clean, bold sentiment. So I'm just going to kind of line this up in the center, and hopefully it's straight. I'm not over the top of it. And I'll give it just a moment for all that black ink to transfer into my cardstock before I lift it up. And there you go. Isn't that cute? All right. So this is interesting. I really like the pattern that that's giving. All right, so now let's take this and layer it on my card front. I have a lot of ink on my paper, and I've never noticed my black ink to kind of run a little bit, but it looks like it is. Maybe I should have let that dry. All right, so let's take some dimensionals, of course, and pop this up on my background. I'm running kind of low. I forgot to restock out here after last week. All right. So I'm going to center this layer on my card like this. And now you can dress it up however much or however little you want. Isn't that fun? Can you see the cool plaid pattern on this? I hope the camera is picking it up for you, because it's really neat. All right, so now I'm going to die cut a couple pops of color and make some little flowers to go on my card front. Now these are the Sentimental Park dies, so you have lots of really pretty flowers. On my original card, I used these outline flowers, so let's make some of these solid flowers, and then you can decide which ones you like better. I like to mix it up a bit. So this is Flirty Flamingo, and I'm just going to run this through my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and cut out 3 flowers real quick, and we'll add those to our sentiment. With my little Boho Blue mini cutting machine here. These are really cute flowers. They have great detail on them. Okay. So you can decide where you would like these. I kind of like that. And I'll put one down here. You can decide how you would like to adhere these. I'm going to use the putty end here because I can just pick these up. And drop it right down where I want it. kind of put a big glob on there by accident. I was trying to pull it off. All right. And then I'm going to use a mini dimensional and pop up this bigger flower. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions about the masks as I'm working, okay? Now, just to help kind of pull this pink through a little bit, I'm going to splatter. And splattering is really easy. It's a great way to add just a little pop of color without actually adding more elements onto your project. You can do this with Stampin' Blends, or you can do it with our Stampin' Write markers. Either one works. I like to use the brush tip, and you just flick it on the cap. Okay, but a little flick creates a lot of color. You don't really have control over where it goes. So if you want the color in a very specific spot, I would use maybe a Stampin' Write marker or a mask off where you don't want the color. And then I'm going to add this little white twine bow. So this is a piece of our baker's twine. And I'm just going to make a little bow here. And I'm going to kind of tuck this up underneath the flower. So let's get a little glue dot here. And again, I'm going to fold this to just enough to have the knot of my bow fit on it. Then I can use my Take Your Pick tool and just kind of get it right up underneath here. Just like that. Now you could color this twine if you wanted to. It would look very cute colored green, so it kind of looked like a little flower leaves. I made this bow a little big. Let's see if I can make it smaller. Sometimes you can and sometimes you can't once you put it on that glue dot. Sometimes it doesn't want to slide very well. Okay. And then last but not least, I'm going to add a little bling by putting on some of our rhinestone basic jewels. So we can just add them right to our flower centers here. Makes for really cute flowers. Isn't that cute? Now you could even sprinkle some more around if you wanted. So I don't think you can ever really get enough bling on your projects, can you? There we go. How cute is that? So here is the first one with the plaid. Hopefully you like that. All right, so now let's make our next card. So our next project is going to use the same stamp set and masks, but I'm going to switch up which pair of masks in that set that I use. So let's pull out our project here. And here's our project. Isn't that pretty? Just simple. So this is a piece of designer series paper, and I have pulled this paper from the Inked Botanicals paper collection. So you can see from my paper sampler here that you can see all your patterns in the collection. And we are going to use this one. So it's a Lost Lagoon piece with a subtle print on it, which will allow the patterns from the masks to pop through still. And we're going to use these really pretty quadrifoil and the coordinating mask to go with it. So to make this project, I will use a Lost Lagoon card base, and this is cut 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to use 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper. So this one is cut 4 1/4 by 5.5, so it completely covers the card front. And then I die cut a banner from the Designer Series paper using these Nested Essentials labels. I've used these a ton. Sorry, the Nested Essentials dies. I've used them a ton. I think I even used them. Did I use them last week? I did use them last week. Look, I used the banner on this project last week too. I use these a lot. These are one of my new go-to products out of the annual catalog. If you don't have these yet, this is a great one to put on your must-have list of products to add to your stash. You will not regret it. Then I also cut a banner that I'm going to stamp my sentiment on, and this is in Pool Party, and it uses the largest banner die from the Nested Essentials dies. All right, so I pre-cut these for you. So let's start by doing some masking on our Designer Series paper so we can set everything else aside for now. And I'm going to pull out a blending brush, and the inks I'm going to use today are Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. So one that's a little more subtle, and then one that's going to give us a little pop of color. All right. So I'm going to start by using this pattern first because I want to be able to line up that quadrifoil pattern over it, and it will make it easier to see. So I'm going to kind of set this on my Designer Series paper layer. You can tape this down if you would rather. If you have some 3M Post-it notes, that would work. Sorry, I have a fuzzy in here. So I'm going to kind of pick up my ink, and I'm just going to do a small area of the darker color. And you will see how this will kind of pop off the page. I forgot to put my scrap paper underneath this. Let's do that. And then I'm just going to add kind of a little pop of color over here and maybe down here. Very soft and subtle, just a little bit. So now you can see where I have a little bit of that design. And I just want it in an area that will still allow some of the pretty pattern to be seen around my banner that's going to be there. Now with this one, if you want to add a little more color, you can kind of see it and line it up because you can see that pattern. And maybe if I want to extend it out here just a little more, I can do that. Now I have a little out there. Now I want to create a subtle pattern over the top. So I'm going to take my quadrifoil stencil, and you can see how now you can see that pattern. When I originally made this, I used this one first, and it was hard to line up this other pattern. So I thought next time I'm going to create this by putting down the darker pattern first, and it is definitely a lot easier. All right, I'm just cleaning off my stamp here. And I'm going to pick up some Lost Lagoon ink and line this up with my other pattern. There we go. And then I'm going to get some of the excess off too, so that I don't have dark color on there. I want it to be nice and light. All right, so now I'm going to take the lighter Lost Lagoon, and I'm just going to kind of put it anywhere I want a little more color on my Designer Series paper. There's no right or wrong to this. you'll see that the pattern for this part is pretty subtle once I remove the stencil. And again, if you're not sure, just take it and flip it up, hold it in one place, and see how fun that is. It's really, really cool. I want a little more color down here. There we go. And now we have a really spectacular layer that was very easy to make that we can now add to our cards. What do you think? Isn't it fun and easy? Tell me if you have ever used stencils before. Have you ever used stencils on your projects? I would love to know if you use stencils on your projects. So now once you're happy with this layer, we can adhere it to our card front. It looks really, when I'm looking at it on camera, it looks like the color is really blotchy, but in real life it really isn't. So I'm just going to soften these edges a little bit by taking my blending pen and just using the residual ink that's still on here and softening some of those edges. All right, so now I'm going to add this to my card front by putting a little bit of Tombow multi-purpose glue. And the reason why I'm using this is I want to be able to slide that piece into place to make sure that it's lined up really nicely and not sticking off the edges. So see how I have a little bit still down here? So now because of that Tombow, I can just kind of take it and slide it down ever so slightly and just get it perfectly in place. I love the Tombow for this use. There we go. So now this is our card base. So now this has become the front of our card. So now let's bring in these other die cut pieces, and we are going to do a little bit of stamping, and I'm going to stamp in Pretty Peacock. So let's take this and ink this up really nicely. And I'm going to slide this to make sure it's right over the top because this is a little bit of a tight squeeze, but it works as long as you get it lined up. So now we have our really nice saying, "Oh, happy day." I love that. So now I'm going to layer these banner pieces. So you could do a couple of things. You could just put this underneath like this, or you could cut this in half and have a little popping out at the top and a little popping out on the bottom. It just depends how you want it to look on your project. So I think that I am good having this just on the bottom with this little pop of color coming from the underneath here. So once you get it lined up how you like it, you can just push it in place like this. And then I'll use some dimensionals to put this down on my card front. So I'll do this. And then I'm going to offset this. You could put it over on this side or in the center. Actually, maybe it's kind of nice right here. We'll do it a little opposite of the other one. And you can make sure that you have the top lined up there. All right. So now for embellishments, I'm going to use the Rhinestone Basic Jewels again. And now I'm going to use some off-white twine. Now again, this is one of the twines that come in the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. Just with the white, you get white and you get very vanilla and black, crumb cake, and I think Sahara sand, and I think those are all the colors. So let's tie a bow. If you wanted, you could even make a double bow, would be very cute to have it a little more prominent. And I'm going to kind of put this there, and I love the curlicue tails, so I'm going to leave those on there. So have any of you worked with Lost Lagoon? So Lost Lagoon was a color from one of our early in color collections. It was very popular, and now it's exciting that it's back as oh, it stuck to my finger. Look at that. So I can just stick it right down on my card. Ha! That worked well, didn't it? Actually, I think I want to move it down a little bit so that I have room for some rhinestones. So there we go. So isn't that cute? Just that little bow pulls the vanilla out of our designer series paper and kind of brings it through the card for more cohesiveness. And then last but not least, let's dress this up with some bling. So I'm going to add a couple rhinestones here and a couple down here. And there is our simple but very cute card. What do you think? Do you like these stencils? I'd love to know which stencils you like more. Do you like the plaids or do you like this pretty quadrifoil set? They all come in the same mask pack, which is really nice. So they all come in this artistic mix decorative mask pack. I really enjoy using them. Okay. Well, that's everything I have for you today. Thanks for joining me. It's always fun. I had fun sharing how to use masks with you today. Now remember, if you would like the free card kit that's going right now, it's the Sweet Citrus set. You can get 2 each of these 3 project kits in the form of a class by spending at least $35 in my online store. And if you bump it up to $50, I'll even include a full pack of these really pretty iridescent pearls. Just make sure you use the current host code. And if you want to make today's projects, you can add your mask pack to your order to get your free class kit, and then also make some of these, although these kits you can create on your own. All right, everyone, thanks so much for joining. I hope you have a great week, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.